We are in the garden of the Institute of Ecology at the Technical University of Berlin at the ICOS station Berlin Rothenburgstrasse. For ICOS, we mainly provide the data from the top of the tower at 40 meters above ground. We also have the same instrumentation at 30, 20, 10 and 2 meters above ground. Therefore, we can provide profiles of carbon dioxide concentration or profiles of air temperature, humidity and other variables.
We are located in a rather green part of the city, which is quite typical for Berlin, which has a lot of trees and parks as well. And also the area here is heterogeneous in the surroundings, so we have these green areas and more densely built up areas and also a highway which contributes to emissions significantly. Measuring greenhouse gas emissions in cities is not necessarily that different from in a rural environment, but I think it's much more difficult or challenging making sense of the data because you have all these different influencing factors that change the source area and therefore the source of emissions as well. Berlin is the largest city in Germany. We have around 4 million inhabitants, and as cities are a very important source of carbon dioxide emissions, I think it's very important to monitor that emission where it is emitted, so in the city. The main sources of emissions in Berlin, especially in this area, is mostly heating from the residential area and traffic, of course.
On the other hand, we have a strong CO2 sink, so like negative emissions due to photosynthesis from the big trees around here. And variations are mainly caused by the beat of the human activities. We have different emissions during the week. For example, we have lower emissions during weekend because of lower traffic emissions. And we also have higher emissions during rush hour.
The measurement of greenhouse gas emissions in cities is quite important, I think, on the one hand to monitor whether certain policy measures and decisions to reduce emissions are actually effective. And on the other hand, we have an independent method to estimate the emissions in contrast to the bottom-up approach, which is usually applied. I do think that climate change and mitigation of climate change is a very important topic, and I'm really glad to be working in a field where I can contribute a little bit to the understanding of climate change and its mitigation.